Welcome to the second edition of Around the Acorn Sports. My name is Harry, and today I'm joined by Cam, Riley, and Ethan, where we will be debating sports around the national level and around the CAA. And it all starts right now. We'll be getting things going today by starting with one of the biggest events of the year, the World Series. Two powerhouse teams, two storied franchises. Cam, who do you have taking the ring?
Well, actually today I have the Yankees taking it here. The Dodgers starting pitching is really weak. They're down three-time Cy Young winning Clayton Kershaw and Tyler Glasnow, who pitched on an all-star level this year. And also the fact the Dodgers are a playoff choker. They've only won one World Series with this kind of group of guys. It was in 2020, which everyone knows was a Mickey Mouse World Series. And the Yankees prevailed over the Guardians and Royals easily, thanks to Giancarlo Stanton, who's a playoff hitter. 16 home runs in 35 playoff games, which leaves him at a home run every 8.1 at-bats, which puts him in the ranks with Babe Ruth and Randy Rosarena. As well, Luke Weaver has pitched so amazing this postseason. Has kicked Clay Holmes out of the closer role. He's the closer now. And I'm not even going to go into it because they're the two AL MVPs. They can win it Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. Soto's got the best swing in the game. There's no getting around it. Best batter's eye. I mean, that 3-run homer versus the Guardians, a great at-bat. And even though Ohtani's having a historic year, I don't know if he has the true edge over Judge and Soto because Soto has a ring and Judge would have had a ring if it wasn't for the Astros cheating. And this is his first postseason ever. So just lack of experience. And Ohtani also cannot hit with runners not on base. He's a runner in scoring position hitter, which, yes, that helps. But in the World Series, you see better pitching, better teams. You have to hit with runners off base. You have to hit those solos, home runs, those leadoff doubles. And Ohtani struggled against the Mets with that, which is why I'm going to have to go with the New York Yankees, bring home number 28.
Okay, let's go back to the playoff chokers for the Dodgers. You're kind of contradicting yourself there because the Yankees have been playoff chokers like the past 4 seasons. Let's go back. No. Let's go back to 2021 Red Sox Yankees beginning of the playoffs. Like, you choked against the Red Sox there. So how are you going to say the Dodgers are going to choke?
We're talking about the AL wild card here as a valuable choker. The Yankees have 27 World Series. No team is even close to that.
You're really pulling the 27 World Series.
They have 27 World Series.
Okay.
Well, you have no argument to that. 27.
This. As a Red Sox fan, first of all, I would like to say thank goodness it's not a Subway Series because if it was Mets versus Yankees, I would not have tuned into that because just no. But I think the Dodgers had this one in the bag. They have a lot of World Series experience. That's where the Yankees severely lack in the past few years. They have not made it that far in the playoffs. As I said earlier, choker. And also, you look at Shohei versus Judge. It's like the battle of the bats right there. Ohtani, he's been red hot all playoffs. Judge, not so much. And I'm going to go into this. The Yankees have had an easier path to the finals than the Dodgers have. The Yankees, they played the Royals and then Cleveland. The Dodgers had to go through the Mets and the Padres. That's a way harder path than that.
You said Judge not hitting the postseason. Did you see that 2-run home run to tie the game, too?
So 1 2-run home run.
What clutch did Ohtani have?
He's just
He had a 3-run homer when they were up 10. Ohtani hasn't had a clutch hit that whole series.
But he's been more consistent than Judge.
Aaron Judge hit 58 home runs this year.
I'm not talking about the regular season. I'm talking about the postseason.
Judge hit a game-time 2-run homer. I've not seen Shohei hit in a clutch spot.
So let me go into this then. So the Yankees had to win by a game-winning home run. The Dodgers had an easy little good win against the Mets.
The Mets were not good. They were about a miracle run. The Yankees, you're now bringing up run differential.
Okay. I just don't think the Yankees are going to win because they're playoff chokers, and they're just not that good.
Also, Freddie Freeman has a bad foot, too. He missed 2 games versus the Mets, so that's one of their best hitters in the lineup that's not playing.
Okay, but the Dodgers have depth all around their team, and everyone can get a hit, and everyone's going to make a difference. Kike Hernandez, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani. You got a whole lineup right there that's ready to put their body on the line and ready to win against the Yankees.
Guys.
Okay,
a lineup's
4
9.
great guys.
I wouldn't say
2 which were former Red Sox.
I wouldn't say Kiki's great.
Kike? Kike, get it right.
I wouldn't say.
If you're gonna talk about baseball, you gotta know your facts, man.
I wouldn't say Kiki's great.
There's no way you just said Kiki again. Okay.
Ethan, who do you have winning this series?
I guess I'm breaking the tie here.
Yeah, I guess you are.
I think the Dodgers are gonna win.
Let's go.
I also don't think it's gonna be particularly close. I mean, their bullpen is the best bullpen in baseball. They have a better lineup. Their lineup is so long. I mean, you go Shohei, Betts, Freeman, then Teoscar Hernandez, Tommy Edman, who just won NLCS MVP on a team with 3 MVPs, And then you have Will Smith and Muncy in the 7-8 hole. They're more battle-tested. They beat San Diego. San Diego was the popular pick to win it all heading into the playoffs. And they dispatched the Mets pretty easily. I mean, we kind of like to dismiss the Mets as this kind of lucky power of friendship team. From June 1st on, they were the best team in baseball. They went 65-38 in their last 103 games. Like, that was a good team. No game was particularly close. They won 9-0, 8-0, 10-2, and 10-5. And the Yankees, they played the Royals, who wouldn't have even made the playoffs if they didn't get to play the White Sox 13 times. They went 12-1 versus the White Sox, by the way. They played Cleveland, who won the White Sox division. Cleveland weirdly went 8-5 versus the White Sox. Also, like you said, starting pitching would be their one weakness. They have Yamamoto, who's been iffy, and then Buehler and Flaherty are hit or miss. But as long as those guys give them like 3 or 4 innings, they're more than good enough.
I have a contradiction to that.
Okay.
So the Dodgers have 3 starting pitchers right now.
Yeah, they do.
So the Mets capitalize on their bullpen game, winning it. I think the Yankees are a better team than the Mets. I think the Yankees will take advantage of both.
I don't think the Yankees are a better team than the Mets.
Really?
I agree with
Swept them
him.
this year.
I know they swept them this year, but the Mets have done a lot of things in the regular season.
The AL also sucked this year. It was
are right.
terrible. The Yankees were a 1 seed that won 93 games, something like that, 94 games.
I think the Yankees have better top-heavy hitters who will hit in those spots.
Sure, but you go.
Besides Lindor,
you go Judge, Soto, Stan, who is the definition of 3 true outcomes, and then who? I mean, Gleyber Torres. Like, Gleyber Torres, your 4th best hitter. Cool.
And Anthony Volpe isn't going to do anything either.
Hey, the Delby native he's going to hit. Watch it. He's breakout in the postseason in the
about
World
that.
Series.
If the Yankees were in the National League, they would not have made the World Series.
You guys all bring up very valid points. It's a star-studded series. I'm going to give a point to Cam there. You kind of changed my mind. I think the Yankees bullpen is much hotter right now, and I believe pitching is most important in the World Series especially. But it's definitely going to be very close. And let's kind of continue that debate about the MVPs. We have a lot of MVP level players playing in this series. Riley, who do you have starting it off?
This is really tough for me to say right now because I'm a Red Sox fan, but for AL MVP, I have to go with Aaron Judge. He's just the clear favorite in the running. He's carried his team to a World Series like we just said because the Yankees have no other hitters on their team. His stats are like no other. He's batting .322, 58 home runs, 144 RBIs, and a 1.159 OPS. So simply no one in baseball has been better than him. And then I'm going to go over to the NL now, and I think Shohei Ohtani is the clear favorite here. I know they might talk about someone else, but Shohei has also been just the clear favorite here, hitting a Major League 25 home runs and a Major League leading 35 stolen bases since the All-Star break. It's just insane to see that. He's also the first player to hit 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases, or not the first player.
No, he is the first player.
Oh, the first player to hit 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases ever in MLB history. That is unbeaten. So it's just like he's just unbeaten. He's gonna win it. So those are my 2 picks.
Let's get this out of the way. Ohtani and Judge are gonna win, but I don't think they should. I don't think they should. So in the NL, Lindor carried the Mets to the playoffs. MVP moments. Lindor, top of the 9th, just blew a lead in Atlanta, a game you have to win, 2-run home run. Go back a couple weeks in Toronto. They're getting no hit through 9. They're down 1-0. He leads off the 9th with a home run. He's brought them back from the brink time after time after time. He had a 7 WAR this year, which is not that much lower than Ohtani's. The Mets don't make the playoffs. They don't even sniff it. Lindor went 33 home runs, 91 RBIs, and a 273 average. Lindor's never been a high average guy, so 273 is pretty good for him. And like I said, those MVP moments. And then in the AL, Bobby Witt hit 332 with 32 home runs and 109 RBIs. He had a 9.4 WAR, which isn't that much lower than Judge's. Kansas City won 56 games last year. 56. They went 86 and 76 this year. That's a 30-game improvement. They also don't make the playoffs without him. He was the only player on Kansas City with above a 271 average, and he was the only player on Kansas City with above an 800 OPS. I don't know why. Judge, 58 home runs, cool. 1,000 OPS, cool. Bobby Witt's the MVP.
Cam?
Well, outside the King of New York, Jalen Brunson, the 2 princes are Aaron Judge and Francisco Lindor. Those who have taken home the trophy. Judge posted 58 home runs, 144 RBIs with a 1.159 OPS. These are juice balled and era numbers. Like, we have not seen these numbers genuinely since Bonds, Sosa, Maguire.
His teammate hit 59 not that long ago. Stan hit 59 like 6 years ago.
Yeah, but look what Stan's OPS was that year, and look what Stan's average was. It's Stan.
I don't know off the top of my head. Do you?
It's like 260, 270, I think. Bobby Witt should be an afterthought, but an afterthought in a good way. Bobby Witt had a phenomenal year. There's no getting around that. I agree with you. I do think Soto had a better year than him, but Witt, an MVP, Soto did have a better year than Witt, in my opinion.
Can you
Judge played spectacular defense in center field. There are no other arguments for AL MVP. Judge is going to get his number 99 number retired, and he will be in Monument Park. But moving over to the NL, this is one I'm very passionate about, but it's Francisco Lindor. While I see Ohtani virtually leads every single statistic, what is the true meaning of MVP? What does MVP stand for?
Most valuable player.
Francisco Lindor is the most valuable player. Mr. Smile and the owner of the song My Girl posted 33 home runs, 91 RBIs in the leadoff spot. 91 RBIs in the leadoff spot is absurd. That is crazy.
Okay, but Shohei broke multiple records.
Shohei doesn't play defense.
Shohei sits on the bench and they're like, Shohei, it's your time to hit. And he goes, oh, I get hit with a $1 billion payroll this offseason. Let me go drive in runs. That's what Shohei does.
Okay, so if he didn't drive in runs, would the Dodgers be where they are right now? No.
But he has $1 billion. Other it'd be Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. He has other guys to do the job. Lindor was literally by himself. He had Pete Alonso swinging outside sliders every time, and Viento's only hitting the postseason really, and at the end of the year. Brandon Nimmo tore his plantar fasciitis halfway through the year and couldn't even play. Couldn't move. Lindor's the MVP. What he said, I'm 100% agree with you. You brought up all the moments. I won't repeat, but every single time I felt like the Mets were like, damn, I need a hit. That song would come up. I've got sunshine, and then you know it's a big hit every time. Doesn't matter. MVP.
And you guys bring up a good point about whether the MVP is going to the best player or to the player that helped our team improve the most. I'll give the point to Ethan on that one just because you sold me, even though Judge and Shohei will, I think, win the MVP, and I agree with you there. You kind of sold me on Bobby Witt and Lindor, and I think they're both very important players to their team. But now let's go to a sport that's kind of, in the middle of the season. College football, it's heating up. A lot of upsets, with the 12-team playoff especially. But let's start with the Heisman picks. Which players right now in college football do you guys have winning the Heisman? Cam, we'll go ahead and start with you.
I mean, it's a little bit of a Mountain West school, but give me Ashton Jentney from Boise State. He has put Boise State was mediocre, they were solid, but they're on the map this year. They're in the teens in rankings. I expect them to go up. They lost a 37-34 game to number one currently ranked Oregon. They were only in that game because of it. He put up 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, his running style where he just stands up straight like Michael Myers in the backfield has gone viral. Jahmyr Gibbs used it on Sunday. Guess what he did? He ran a 50-yard touchdown on that. And then, I mean, he's changed the game. It's a pass-first sport, and he's made it almost like a run-heavy game, like he runs the ball. He's 1,248 rushing yards in 6 games, averaging about 10 yards a carry. He's averaging 200 yards and 3 touchdowns a game in a 5-1 Boise State team. And we haven't seen these numbers since Barry Sanders at Oklahoma State.
I don't watch that much college football, to be completely honest with you guys, but Cam Ward has just stood out to me so much because, he's guided the Hurricanes to these key wins, especially against Louisville, one of the toughest opponents on their schedule. When you look at the Hurricane schedule, it's not that tough compared to other teams, but, he's still the national leader in passing yards and touchdowns with a 319-yard, 4-touchdown effort in the game against Louisville. And then also, he has 2,538 yards, 24 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions, and he has the best QB rating in the league of 92.3. So I just think it's a no-brainer here. Cam Ward's got to win the Heisman at the moment.
Yeah, I had a feeling we'd hear Genty, so I'm not going to say him, but I do think he's probably the favorite right now. My favorite list. I was interested to see the last time a non-Power 5 player won the Heisman. You have to go all the way back to 1990 when Ty Detmer won it at BYU. But how about Dylan Gabriel? We don't talk about him, but he's the quarterback for the number 1 team in the country. He had 341 yards and 2 touchdowns versus Ohio State the other week, 243 and 2 touchdowns versus Boise State. You just brought up that game. Quarterback, number 1 team in the country. Why isn't he getting more love?
I mean, it's because she brought up Ward. Ward, if you look at his games, he always has to pull himself out of a hole. I mean, they haven't even beat that. Louisville's solid. Yeah. But I don't think Ward's strength of schedule is as impressive as Oregon.
Not. They're playing a lot of ACC teams, and they're not that good this
Cal,
season.
Not SMU, Cal. They played, I think Stanford is one of their wins, too. The
I
ACC's
don't think
weak.
they don't play any ranked opponents this
They don't
season.
play
Yeah, I
Clemson?
don't think they do.
No, they play 0 ranked opponents, I'm pretty sure. So definitely strength of schedule does go into that, but he's just been great all season, so that's why I think Cam Ward is just...
He has the numbers to back it
Yeah.
up.
He has the flash.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see. I do agree that Genty is putting up otherworldly numbers right now for Boise State, but it's hard for a non-Power 5 player, especially you could argue in today's landscape it's could be a little bit easier than back in 1990, but for that I'm going to go with Riley. I think Cam Ward has just been that guy who is really leading Miami right now. But let's stay on college football. And although there's a 12-team playoff this year, who do you guys have in the top 4, the final 4 teams? Riley, we'll start with you.
Okay, my final 4 predictions. I gotta go with Oregon at number 1. They're one of the only undefeated teams left in college football. They beat Ohio State, and now they're ranked number 1. Next, I gotta go with Miami. I know we just talked about how their strength of schedule is not that hard, so that's definitely going to be an interesting topic that the college football playoff committee is going to have to talk about. But they are also undefeated. They're ranked number 4 now. Next, I got to go with Georgia. They beat Clemson and Texas, both ranked teams. They're 6-1. They're only lost to Alabama, which is a bit iffy because Alabama has not been good this season. And then my last team's got to be Texas. They beat Michigan and Oklahoma significantly, and those are both ranked teams. They lost to Georgia by a lot, which that also is a bit iffy, just like I said with Georgia, but they're ranked 6. So those are the 4 teams I just got to go with.
Yeah, I think Oregon's going to make it, so I'm not going to elaborate too much there. I think Georgia will make it. They have the Texas win. They have their signature win. They have a really hard schedule. I believe every team they play is either ranked or SEC, I believe. I think their only 2 easy games are Tennessee Tech and Georgia Tech, who isn't even easy.
No,
but
Georgia Tech's
They also play ranked Vandy now.
Yeah,
Vandy was
exactly.
considered a breeze, and now Vandy's ranked.
I think Penn State will be the team that comes out of the Big Ten. They look really, really good. They have a prove-it game coming up in a few weeks. First, I forget who it is.
Ohio State.
Ohio State, right. Personally, I'm not a big believer in Ohio State. And then my last team, this is probably going to be a bit of a surprise. I like Tennessee. They just had the big win versus Bama. If they can beat Georgia in a few weeks, I mean, they're ranked, I think, 7th right now. Why not Tennessee?
I love that pick. I'm a Vols fan, so I'm on with that. It's a great pick by him.
Cam, what's your response?
I mean, Oregon, Georgia. I was hoping my Penn State pick would be unique. I hope you were going to say Ohio State, but Penn State, they only have Ohio State, and they're going to beat everyone else. I mean, I was thinking about putting I like Indiana. I think they have a good chance to win out.
That's an interesting pick.
But I did not go Indiana. I went something similar to you, only a team 1 spot behind them. I'm going LSU behind. I mean, they're 6-1 right now. They don't have a terrible end to schedule. They have Bama at home. I don't think Bama's that good. Bama's struggling right now. They should be 4-3. They barely beat South Carolina. I mean, they've Texas A&M on the road, and I think they win that. I think they have a good chance to go 11-1. And if their one loss was to USC, who is like, it was a week 1, I think LSU is going to come out of the SEC there.
None of us are going to take Army or Navy, both undefeated right now.
I was also thinking about BYU. BYU is number 10 in the nation. Zach Wilson's alma mater represent.
Army's quarterback is leading the nation in rushing touchdowns right now.
That's awesome.
He has 19, more than Genty.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
But it's also like strength of schedule, so you have to look at that.
Well, what about Iowa State? They're a Big 12 team.
Yeah, sure.
They play good competition.
Sure,
They're undefeated. They beat Iowa already too. So they already beat their Big 10 team. You never know with college football. I mean, we can look up next week and Georgia can lose to Tennessee and their season's done.
And who would have thought that Alabama would have lost to Bama?
With the 12-team playoff, you can get in with 2 losses now.
Yeah, but if Georgia loses, I mean, you're right, Tennessee's a good team. Who's Georgia's? Bama. Yeah, they have 2 good losses.
I think they had the bad loss to Bama. That was a bad loss, I think.
Yes.
It's not a bad loss because Bama's going to win out because Bama always finds a way.
They do always find a way.
Bama will win their
Not
next
without
5.
Nick Saban.
Didn't they blow
Do you really
like
think they're
a
going to find a way
3-touchdown lead in that
Nick
game
Saban?
too?
Yeah, they did. They wanted to lose that game. Honestly, there's a real chance that Alabama could have been like 3-4 right now because I don't know how they beat South Carolina.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
that was
crazy.
very close.
Fox said it was the first time they have 2 losses before November since Saban in
It's the
07.
Nick
Since
Saban
Saban's first
effect.
year in 07.
That is
It's the
crazy.
Nick
I
Saban
think
effect.
Milroe's good, by the way. I think he's gonna be a top pick in the draft.
Brian Williams
He's
is really good.
3 years, you gotta wait. He's a true freshman.
he's
He's 17.
Who's the quarterback that's 17 years old? Or not the quarterback, the wide receiver.
Ryan
Yeah,
Williams.
Ryan Williams.
He doesn't turn 18
He's
till like
insane. He's
February.
07.
Yeah, he's like
That's wild.
it's crazy. He's a baby.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty impressive. And college football, the competitive landscape is definitely as wide open as it has been with all these smaller teams. It feels like there's an upset almost every week. But on this one, you all had great arguments. I'm going to go with Ethan just because I like Penn State being in the top 4, and Tennessee's defense I just think is too good to keep them out of that down the stretch. But let's go ahead and move it to the NFL and who will win MVP. It's kind of wide open this year as well. There's no real unanimous person that people have winning. So Ethan, who's your pick?
Yeah, super wide open because normally we're like, oh, Mahomes, Rodgers, Lamar, but I mean, Lamar's having a good year. Mahomes really isn't having a great year, and Rodgers really isn't having a great year. When was the last time a rookie won MVP? Has it ever happened? Because Jaden Daniels could make it happen.
Didn't he just get injured?
Yeah, he's only week to week, though.
Wait, I'm thinking.
I don't think it's ever happened. But
I don't think
you'd probably have to go way back to maybe Jim Brown did it or something.
You may have to fact check that.
Maybe it was before the merger.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
You have to go way back.
Yeah.
But before the year, most sites are giving them like a 20 to 30% chance to make the playoffs. Now they're at like 60 to 70%. They're 5-2.
Yeah.
Or are they 6-2 now? No, they're 5-2. Daniels is first in completion percentage by a wide margin. He's 4th in passer rating. He's 3rd in QBR. Like, he's just transformed that team. I mean, maybe we should have saw this coming because there hasn't been a repeat winner in that division for 18 years or something ridiculous like that. But Jaden Daniels has a real shot to be a rookie MVP. If he can stay healthy, of course.
Riley?
So obviously, if you're a football fan, you know the Chiefs, they're the last undefeated team in the NFL. So at first when I was looking at who's going to win MVP, my brain went right to Patrick Mahomes. But firsthand, I know he has not been good this year. I had him on my fantasy team. I drafted him. I think it was my first pick in my fantasy draft. Not a good idea, guys.
Quarterback in the first round?
Did I? No, I did not. Sorry, guys. It was probably the 3rd round, but not a good pick. I have Kirk Cousins as my backup, and that was not good either. So looking at Patrick Mahomes' stats, he has 1,300 yards, 6 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Like, what the heck? And a 61 QB rating. So then I was like, definitely not Patrick Mahomes. So now I'm going to switch my pick to Lamar Jackson. He's just been insane this season. 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. That is a great stat line, and has a QB rating of 71.1. So obviously the big kicker here is that the Ravens are 4-2 and that the Chiefs are 7-0. So, or are they 5-2 now? I'm pretty sure.
The Ravens are 5-2.
The Ravens are 5-2 now, and then obviously, like I said, undefeated Chiefs. So it's definitely going to be hard to separate that. But I'm just going to go with Lamar here. He's just been so dominant at the QB position.
I mean, I love Lamar, but Lamar's having a fantastic year. But I think you guys are familiar with voter fatigue. I doubt the voters give him his 3rd MVP and 2nd back-to-back. I find that highly unlikely. And there's a guy who's loved by the NFL, loved by all the fans, and he's having a really good year on a 3-4 team. I want Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is 4th in yards, 2nd in touchdowns, only thrown 2 interceptions, is 3rd in quarterback rating, 2nd in overall rating. How? Give me a reason why. Give me why Joe Burrow should win MVP.
Did you not see their train wreck start of a season? I went to the Carolina Panthers versus Bengals game. It was a train wreck. The Panthers almost beat them.
Okay, sure, but look at his stats. He's literally the best quarterback on paper.
Okay, on paper. So let me go back to this. In the MLB, on paper, you said it wasn't.
It's a different sport in the NFL.
No, okay, that doesn't matter. You're contradicting yourself because you said
it's a way different sport. It is a way different sport.
Okay, but you talk about how emotions and carrying a team is more important than on paper, but now you're saying on paper is more important than emotions.
We're talking about a 17 game season. Okay. Joe Burrow has played out of his mind right now.
I don't know if he can win MVP on a team that is 500, so they're gonna have to start winning some games if he wants to win MVP.
Okay, then I'll go another direction. Jared Goff's 5-1. Jared Goff had a game. Jared Goff had a game where he just didn't throw an incompletion. He was 18-18, and I know the Cowboys haven't been great, but the Cowboys have a good roster. They just beat them 47-9.
Yeah, that's a good.
Like 2 weeks ago. And then guess who he beat on Sunday? The undefeated Vikings. Jared Goff.
How about Sam Darnold for MVP?
Oh. Okay,
I can't give it to Sam Darnold. I can't give it to Sam Darnold because he's been playing really bad. He started against the Jets, and he's just not looked like the same.
Sam Darnold has been great this season.
Look at his numbers the past 3 games.
Okay, but he's leading like a great team, and he's doing a great job of having Justin Jefferson and all those players.
I don't know if he's leading. They have a ridiculous defense and a great running game and a great offensive line. Goff looks like a man on the mission because, he was written off by the Rams. I mean, the Rams won their Super Bowl, but he went to a one-win Lion team, and he's dragging them out of the depths. They went to the NFC Championship game last year, just lost. He's a man on the mission. I think he's going to get to the Super Bowl and play Lamar. And honestly, I think there's a chance he wins because they have Gibbs, Montgomery, Williams, St. Brown, Laporta. I mean, they have a stacked offense, and I think the Lions are going to get their first ring this year behind Jared Goff.
Well, it's definitely a very competitive MVP race. It's still relatively early, so things will develop. I'm going to go with Ethan on that one, give him the point, just because I like Jaden Daniels carrying the Commanders kind of out of the depths. It's a team that desperately needed that franchise player, and it'd be cool to see a rookie win MVP, but it'll definitely be interesting to see. So to round out our NFL discussion, what team that didn't make the playoffs last year do you think will make this year? Either one of you can go.
Can I start?
Yeah, you can
I have
start.
a really good argument for this. Okay, I know we just talked about how good the Vikings were. So last season, obviously, they were, God, I can't speak. Sorry. They were eliminated from playoff contention last season in their final game against the Detroit Lions. They lost 30-20, so they were right on the brink of making the playoffs last season. Then obviously in the offseason, we see Kirk Cousins goes to the Falcons. We have that whole issue with the draft where he wasn't told about the other quarterback getting drafted, blah, 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 blah. Then the Vikings go on and draft J.J. McCarthy, which that looks so promising for their team. He started off really well, and then he got an injury, so he's out for the season, right? Sam Darnold goes in. No one thinks anything of it because it's Sam Darnold. He's not been good. He's been really sucky. I have to say it. But, they're 5-1 now. They're tied for first in the NFC North. They got Justin Jefferson. They got Aaron Jones. I'm going to even throw Cam Akers in there. Give me the Vikings to make the playoffs
Didn't
this
they just
season.
trade for him?
They traded for Cam Akers last week because Aaron Jones got hurt.
Okay, so they got Cam Akers now.
Cam Akers is
But
terrible.
Still.
He's not terrible. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but
Okay.
Cam Akers is a backup.
They have great defense, they have great offense, and it's just all working right now. So give me the Vikings to make the playoffs, just like they should have made it last season, and the Lions just destroyed their dreams, which was really sad.
I mean, I feel like the Vikings and the Commanders are the two easy picks, right? Just based on their record. The Houston Texans fell off a cliff. They were I know this is teams that we think are going to make playoffs that didn't last year. I believe Houston made the playoffs last year.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They could miss it this year.
Did they make it to the second round?
They're 5-2 right now. The Texans.
CJ Stroud has been bad. They could go on a losing streak. He had 5 fantasy points last week.
I know, but they almost beat the Packers, and if they won that game, they would have been 6-1.
Whatever. The
Keyword
Texans have been bad. But whatever. I'll stick with my MVP pick. Jaden Daniels and the Commanders will probably end up making the playoffs. I think they'll win that division. The Eagles are complete frauds. The Giants are not good.
I agree with that. No one ever believes me. I always say Eagles are frauds, and everyone's like, "Are you crazy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm crazy.
Yeah,
they are frauds."
The Eagles are frauds. The Giants aren't good, and the Cowboys. I thought they were going to be good, but apparently they suck.
The Cowboys always suck.
I mean, Dak Prescott. What happened to that guy?
Nothing
Yeah,
happened.
Commanders
He's
are
just
making the
mid.
playoffs. You heard it here. Probably not first, but you heard it here.
I agree with the Commanders. I just don't trust the young team. But you guys are saying the obvious picks. Who made the Super Bowl in 2021?
The Bengals?
Who did the Bengals just lose to in the
Bengals
AFC
pick.
Championship game because Joseph Asai had not a great call on Patrick Mahomes on a roughing the passer call.
Kansas City, I guess.
Kansas City. The Bengals almost made back-to-back Super Bowls, and if it wasn't for Joe Burrow breaking his hand last year, they would have made the playoffs. The Bengals are a great team. They have a great head coach. They have great weapons. I mean, Mixon's gone, but they got Chase Brown, who's a great replacement. Burrow is a top 5 quarterback in the league. Joe Burrow gets way too much hate for the only man besides the greatest football player of all time to be Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. The only man ever. Only Brady's done it. Joe Burrow's the only guy, too. Joe Burrow's going to take this team to the playoffs. I know the Ravens are great. But I just don't understand the Bengals' hate. They don't have the greatest defense, but they have a solid defense to get them there. 10 wins will get you in with the AFC because the AFC beats each other up. A lot of good teams. I think the Bengals will get in behind Joe Burrow leading the charge.
Something with the Vikings. I don't know what it is with them with these weird quarterbacks. They made the NFC Championship with Case Keenum a few
What
years
about
ago.
Josh Dobbs last year?
Oh, yeah, him too.
I just think the Vikings just have a better energy around them. You know what I mean? It's very fun up there in Minnesota, whereas the Bengals, sometimes I feel like they're just down in the dumps, and it's really depressing.
The entire NFC North would make the division with the playoffs if the season ended today.
I know, but it's Sam Darnold at the end. I just don't trust him.
But that's awesome.
No, they'll probably. I think that might.
You don't want to see Sam
Darnold did the same thing with the Panthers in 2019.
But it only lasted like 2 games.
It lasted 4. They were like 3-1. But I get it. The Vikings are a good team, but I just think that Joe Burrow.
Two of those 3 wins for the Jets and Giants. Hello.
Justin Jefferson should have got his way out of there when he had the chance. I don't know why he signed an extension.
2 of those Darnold Panthers wins for the Jets and the Giants.
Like I said, emotional connections, guys. Emotional connections. That's what the Vikings got. They're a team.
Joe Cool. Whatever you want to call him.
Joe Cool?
That's what they called him after he beat Mahomes.
That's Joe Montana.
Joe Cool. They called him Joe Shiesty too. They called him some crazy.
Joe Shiesty,
they called him some crazy names. I think it's Burrow, and I think he's gonna take his team. T. Higgins too. Everyone forgets about Higgins.
But I just don't think the Bengals they don't have the drive.
How? They made a Super Bowl and they almost went to 2.
They come out of the gate and they were all like slow and they just couldn't win.
I mean, that division's kind of wide.
They've won back-to-back games now.
Okay.
And they barely lost to the Ravens.
I was talking about the beginning of the season, not right now.
They barely lost to Ravens.
Well, all those teams definitely have a shot. Cam, I am going to go with you. I do trust the Bengals. I think it's similar to sometimes we'll see really talented teams start off slow and then finish off well. I think they have too much experience as long as they can stay healthy. But to round it out, it is NBA opening night. We've got the Celtics raising their banner against the Knicks, and then followed by the Lakers and the Timberwolves. What are your guys' thoughts on the NBA season? We've got a lot of interesting storylines. What do you guys got for us?
Let's go Celtics, baby. I brought you a gift, Cam. Really?
Let's go next. Jalen Brunson's winning MVP.
Tatum is going to dunk on your team and win.
Wait, Jason Tatum got a participation trophy in the summer this year.
Okay, but who just won Banner 18 and it's raising it to the rafters tonight?
Yeah, well, we'll see what Jalen Brunson has to say about that.
All right.
8 of those rings came when there were like 6 teams in the league.
But 1 came last year.
We're going to have to cut this one short. Next, we're going to be talking about Elon Sports and around the CAA. Welcome back to Around the Acorn Sports. After some heated debate in our last session, right now we're going to talk about Elon Sports programs and around the CAA. Let's get it started with Elon Soccer. Both soccer teams have been a bright spot of Elon Athletics this year, and both have the potential to host the CAA championship, make the CAA championship. So, Cam, I'm going to start with you. What can we expect down the stretch in these last few games?
I'll start off with women's soccer. They have a 1-point lead in conference play over Stony Brook. So honestly, I think they could get it done. They play a weak Campbell and UNCW team. I feel like they can get that 1 seed, and they can even clinch on home turf. For men's, either Monmouth or if Elon's men makes a run, they can. As they sit 3 points behind Monmouth right now, but I hope they can do it, but I think that's too big of a margin. I think Monmouth is going to host the CAA championship.
I 100% agree with you on the Elon women's soccer. If they win out, they could host a CAA game, and I think they could end up hosting a CAA championship, which would be great. For men's soccer, though, they've had a bit of a rough patch in the middle of the season, so hopefully during the end they can win out, get some more wins, but I don't see them hosting a championship, maybe winning a few playoff games, though.
Yeah, the men's is currently a 3 seed. The women's are currently the 1 seed, though, so yeah, they could definitely host. Hofstra could also host the men's. They won last year. They're currently the 2 seed. Top 3 seeds, especially the top 2 in the men's, could all end up hosting, especially if there ends up being an upset in the playoffs.
Yeah, so that's definitely very interesting. I'll go a point to Riley for that one. I just feel like men started out really hot, but they've struggled a little bit. But overall, both soccer programs have been very dominant. But let's move on to Elon basketball. Elon, has struggled a little bit in both programs over the last few years, but Cam, you can go ahead and get us started with what should we kind of expect from these Elon basketball teams around the CAA, and what's going to be the X factor this year to be successful?
I'm going to start off with around the CAA. We're going to go to the champions last year, Charleston. They have dominated the CAA for years, going 27-8 last year, making an appearance in the tournament. I actually picked them last year to win their first round, but they didn't. But Drexel finished last year, did add 6'3" point guard Josh Reed, who could boost their backcourt. But man, wait till you hear this Charleston recruiting class. First of all, they nabbed 3-star transfer from the Citadel, A.J. Smith, followed by 3-star transfer Darren Boyd from Loyola Chicago. Following that, they recruited 3-star Jackson Prunty, who turned down offers from App State to come here. He even had visits lined up to go to Kansas and had 2 unofficial visits to go to Tennessee, proving how much the College of Charleston's basketball has improved. Moving on to Elon, they had a strong recruiting class and transfer class. I expect them to finish much higher than 12, which is where the CAA has them predicted right now. Overall, my winner of boys basketball CAA has to be Charleston. On the women's side, NC added 4 versatile players to their side. Eva Andrews guard, Rachel Griffin center, Amber Howard stretch forward, and Elliot Jessup another stretch forward. These 4 are going to bring sure versatility and movement to the CAA favorites. Elon, on the other hand, is projected to finish much higher than their male counterparts. They finished with 4 high-profile recruits, including county all-stars and all-region players, as well as numerous all-state players, expecting these freshmen to make immediate impacts on the basketball team.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. Charleston has been a powerhouse in men's basketball, but I'm going to go with Towson. They're a powerhouse this year also with 166 first-team votes in the preseason rankings. Charleston is right behind them at 157, but I'm just going to go with Towson as my favorite. Elon, they ranked 12th with 46 votes, so hopefully they can prove that preseason ranking wrong and do better than that. Going over to women's, also, again, North Carolina A&T, they're the favorite to win women's basketball with 166 first-team votes, but I'm going to go with Drexel. I'm going to take them. They're my dark horse pick. There are 20 votes behind them for the CAA rankings with 146, so I think they're definitely going to be good. And then going back to Elon again, they ranked 7th with 86 votes, and I think that they can be better than that. 7th is a great ranking, obviously better than the men's one, but I feel like Elon women's basketball has a great chance to do great this year.
Yeah, like you guys have said, the men's team isn't projected to do so great. Charleston and Towson are expected to compete for the top spot, like you guys said. I think Charleston's reputation speaks for itself. I think they'll probably end up taking it. They have some returning players. They're battle tested. They made the tournament a few times. I think I also picked them to win their first round game. Let me down there. On the women's side, like you said, they're projected to finish higher than the men's, kind of middle of the pack. And you mentioned NC and Drexel. Towson, again, is projected to compete for that top spot. I didn't know their basketball program was that good before looking into it. So I'll take Towson, sure. You mentioned NC and Drexel, so I'll take Towson. And for moving into X factors for the men's, I mean, they're not projected to do great, so if you're going to overachieve, your star player has to lead the way. So TK Simpkins is going to have to lead the way if Elon wants to make a run here. And on the women's side, Miraja Pass was second on the team in points per game last year as a freshman, so I'm sure they're going to be looking for her to take a step forward and become a leader on this team. Yeah,
and you also have Adams. She received second team honorable mentions for the CAA. Same with TJ Simpkins for the men's team. So they're definitely going to be 2 key players on both the men's and women's side of the ball for Elon. So watch out for them this season.
I agree with you about Pass. She's the point guard. She averaged 9 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists last year. And the offense is going to have to facilitate through her since she's a guard. So she's going to be running that offense, so she is the X factor. If the offense is going to run, it's going to be through her. But I'm going to go another name, the transfer from Hawaii Pacific. He played 4 years at St. Mary's, Matthew Van Common.
Tall man.
I see him in McEwen all the time. He averaged 7 points, 7 rebounds, and 47 blocks last year. I mean, he's a defensive machine. He's going to be on the boards. I mean, I am not driving to the lane on that man. He's going to block me 10 times out of 10.
He's also a very funny guy, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see. Like, maybe if he gets a dunk or something, he'll do a crazy celly.
Well, the defense is going to be anchored by him. And honestly, don't let him get hot in the paint because I could see him putting up a 10-0 run. I mean, feed the big man down low. So I think if the Elon boys basketball team is going to succeed, it's going to be through him. And I think he's going to be a huge part. And I think they're going to rise past that number 12 ranking.
Yep, you guys all had very good claims about the CAA basketball season. I think there's a lot of talent. Both of Elon's basketball teams, I think, are going to have a lot more energy than they did last year. So it should be fun to watch. Hopefully, they can get hot and keep it going from the start of the year. But Cam, I'm going to give you the point on that one. Just with your, information on these recruiting classes and stuff, I definitely like your arguments about, where that CAA might finish, men's and women's, and how the star players are definitely going to be a big role in Elon's success this year. But let's talk about a team, athletic program, Elon, that has had a little bit of a down year, Elon football. So what do you guys think needs to change? And also going into next year, whether that's the passing game, running game, defense, special teams is going to be the biggest area of improvement for the staff and in recruiting to have a better outcome next year. Riley, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I have been to every home game this season, so I've seen everything about Elon football firsthand. And What I'm going to say about this is they are a great first half team. They come out of the gate ready to play, ready to beat their opponents, and they just come out of halftime and they just seem like they slowed down a bit. So that's definitely something they need to talk about in their locker room and focus on. Also, something I want to touch on is they need to win at home. They need to utilize their fans and the energy they get from that, because their only 2 wins this season have been on the road, which obviously it's good to win on the road, but you also need to win at home because that is where you're expected to win. We've had chances to win games a lot this season, and we just haven't been able to put them away. So that is something, like I said, we need to focus on. We need to play all 4 quarters. We need to utilize our passing game. Usually when we're scoring touchdowns, it is by passing touchdowns. Our running game has been a bit rough this season. It can definitely be improved. And if we do want to be a run-heavy team, which that seems like our goal, we just need to find the holes better in other teams' defense. So we just need to work on all those aspects of the game, and we can be a great team.
Yeah, I mean, they went 6-5 last year, and they're currently 2-5. So really a down year, and they brought back a lot of their key players. I mean, the quarterback Downing was back, Brayboy was back. They did lose Hampton, the running back, but maybe they can pick up some transfers.
Let's not discredit Brayboy though, because Brayboy has been amazing this season for Elon.
He had two kick return touchdowns versus Albany the other day.
I'm pretty sure he got some CAA honors from that game.
Yeah,
from
he's
those
been
2.
great.
Yes.
He's been almost their whole offense. But
You can keep on going.
I was just going to say, self-inflicted wounds. I mean, penalties.
Yes.
They're averaging 53 penalty yards per game, and also the kicking. They're only 7 for 12 on field goals this year. Like, that's just barely over 50%.
Their punting has been good though. They've been pinning it deep.
Well, hopefully they don't have to punt a lot.
I see your point. I agree with most of it, but I feel like there's something there. So I've watched a lot of bad football over the years. I'm a Jets fan.
Me too.
Oh, so yeah.
I haven't. I'm a Patriots fan.
Well, so
You're watching bad football this year.
I haven't.
But so the thing is, when I go to the games, I notice that they're not setting a tempo. They're not getting a running game established before they go to the passing attack. TJ Thomas has been so good if they give him a hole. He's been numerous times all CAA, all freshman team. I mean, he's ripping off big run after big run. Get him established. Get him to hit the A gap. Get him to hit the B gap. Get him to get those holes, and then you can work in the passing attack. Make sure that running game is dangerous on the ground. Then you can go to passing, because then they won't be stacking the box. That's what I feel like they have to do. Come out of the half hot. Call those big plays. Honestly, come out of the half. You get the ball first. Call a deep play action. Hit it to Brayboy deep.
Yeah.
Call that. Put the defense on their toes. You don't want the defense to come at you. When you have a lead, you want to push the pedal. All gas, no brakes. Don't let up. Go win that game. Don't let them come to you.
Because we see a lot of these glimpses of like great moments that Elon football has. Like we talked about Brayboy earlier, he's been amazing this season. I know we've had some switches at quarterback, which that's definitely hard for a team to adapt to in the middle of the season. But if we can just utilize the players that we have that have been producing all season, and like you said, bring in transfers, we could be a great team. I think better than 6-5 that we did last year. This year has definitely been rough, but there's definitely things to learn from. You can't get better if there isn't any negatives. You need to learn from the mistakes and fix them and become a better football team.
I agree with you, but I feel like they just got to set up the offense. You got to work through it first, in my opinion.
Isn't that what I just said?
Yeah, but you're jumping to conclusions. You're saying like next year you got to get these players going. You got to get the offense going. It's not from the outside on the transfers. It's from the inside. They're a good team. I think they just got to get the run game going.
Yeah, and there are a few games left in the year. Elon can definitely build some momentum. Still 2 home games left, so hopefully we see some bright flashes. But they lost some key pieces last year. Jalen Hampton, but like you said, Cam, I think TJ Thomas has done a great job filling in. But it's just about establishing that tempo, and hopefully next year it should be an improved year. They definitely have a lot of talent. But that'll do it for us today. Our winner is going to be Cam. It was a great debate all around, whether it was about the CAA or Elon. A lot of great arguments were made, and I'm sure in the future we'll have a lot more good debates. But that's been it. Please be sure to follow us on YouTube and Instagram at Around the Acorn Sports. And until next time, whose side are you on?
See if I got any better at this from last year.